Welcome back, everyone. We're at Layer8, or I guess if this is the first video you're watching, we're really not back. We're just here. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. Susan Peediyakkal is here from. Well, I can't say where you're from, but you're a cyber threat intelligence lead.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yes.
At an undisclosed place. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about threat intelligence.
Sure. Yeah.
That's fun. She's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what he's going to ask. This is really, really bad.
You said there wasn't going to be a quiz, so I'll be okay.
There is no quiz. I think that threat intelligence is largely, I think many times misunderstood as a source of information. So I kind of draw the four, what I call enchanting quadrants, as to not infringe on anyone's copyright, right? I look at the endpoint logs. I look at, or endpoint information, right? The logs from all bunch of stuff as another quadrant.
Internal.
The network and flow data as another one.
Yep.
I put threat intelligence. Now, some people have challenged me on this, but I put threat intelligence data as an important source. If you can correlate and analyze all four areas, I think you're in really good shape.
I think for security operations, absolutely, yes. So taking all four of those into account. I mean, as threat intel, taking those three inputs internally and then correlating it with external information is just kind of like how we do our business.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, I mean, it would be in a security operations center's like best interest to include threat intel and work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So what? And so I think some people that like kind of like to pick on threat intel are like, well, you know, the data is not really good, or you know, this data is better than the other. How do you classify what good threat intelligence looks like versus not so helpful?
Sure, yeah. And I think people get very vendor reliant in this sense. And it's kind of like, oh, well, a vendor told me this, so it must be true. And not to, say anything bad about vendors. There are great vendors out there that provide
especially Recorded Future sponsor.
Huge fan. So, yes.
Love Recorded Future.
Yes. So, yeah, the intel that they provide is just like invaluable. And again, it's like working so much faster than we can ever do as like just an analyst who can consume all of that data and produce any kind of a solution out of it. And
that's a really great point, because I don't have a lot of the fancy tools, right? Even if I did, I don't have an environment large enough to really take advantage of them, right?
Yeah.
So I do, and it's actually works out great because I do the manual analysis. So I do exactly as you described, right? I look for things in files, in emails, on the network, and then I'm like, I wonder if there's somewhere I can correlate. So like I go to VirusTotal manually, I go to some of these other lists manually, and I use command line tools, and that's not really, I mean,
it works.
It works.
Yeah,
right?
it's a method.
It's very time consuming.
It is very time consuming, yes.
But having an automated process is way, obviously.
And I mean, I think every single one of the clients that I've ever worked with, automation is like what they want, obviously.
Yes.
I mean, that's what everybody wants to move towards. But I think you kind of need to, one, understand how the manual is done first, so you know what you're getting out of that automation.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, right? Because I get worried that our like the next generation of cybersecurity professionals,
it's going to be laziness.
You're going to be spoiled, right?
Exactly.
And you really do have to learn how to do these things by hand first. Then you can use the automated tools.
Yes. And I kind of feel like driving is the same way. I know that's complete tangent, but like these cars that kind of like do everything for you now. Like I was like
backup cameras
and changing lanes and stuff like that. And so people don't know how to do it anymore.
My nephew's 16.
Yes.
And so I'm teaching him how to drive. And so like I'll tape a piece of paper over my backup camera and teach him how to parallel park.
Yes.
I'm like, you have to know how to do this without the sensors, without the anything else.
Yes.
Because it'll even beep too when he gets too close. I'm like, I wish I could turn that off.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to hack my car to turn. I mean, I could, but
My car's like 13 years old and it really doesn't have any technology in it whatsoever. And like I'm parallel parking and back up into parking spaces and stuff. And people are like, you're so good. And I'm just kind of like, this is the way cars were. I'm not spoiled by all the technology. Rental cars like kill me when I use them now. I'm I don't know what to do.
It's almost more confusing.
Exactly.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, total tangent.
But once you get the hang of it, if you combine, to bring it back to security and driving as well, right? Once you get the hang of it in like doing it all yourself kind of thing without assistance from digital technology, when you have the digital technology, it does take some time to train.
It does.
Once you get there, you're like, wow, I'm so much more efficient. Now, the important point, that my friend was talking about last night too. And he said, when things go wrong, you have to have that foundational knowledge
You
to
do.
troubleshoot it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise, what do you fall back on? Like, what would you do if you didn't have this like fancy tool or it went down for a day? Then you're just stuck and
Right.
stuff. So yeah. So to get back to your other point, like I just using the vendor information, it's nice, it's good intelligence, but taking it from different sources, taking that knowledge just from like being in your actual environment, correlating it with that internal data, it all builds this full story. And
Right.
I think that that's kind of like the part of threat intel that people miss because it's always just kind of like, just give me some IOCs, just give me some indicators. That's all
It's
I
not
need.
the whole story. In that scenario, it's that people want to use it as the whole story.
Yes.
It's not.
Not.
It's a piece. Like I just
Yes.
did some analysis for an upcoming technical segment, and one part of my analysis was the URL. And what I did to kind of like enrich my story was I went to VirusTool and I said, tell me if people think this URL is good or bad, right?
Yeah.
So now I've got a few vendors that think this is bad. That's part of my story. And
Sure.
as you well know, that's something you look at me like, that's exactly how I use
Yes,
it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is a validation. But like, why is it bad? Why are they saying it's bad? Like, what else is it associated with? What else is it? Where has it been seen? How many times has it been seen? That kind of stuff. I mean, like, it just kind of it builds a fuller story than just
Right.
like, here's a URL, here's a IP, whatever. You need to have context behind it.
Yeah.
So
And the direction matters too.
It
right?
does.
And I think a lot of people early on in threat intelligence especially made the mistake of taking what's coming down in threat intelligence, trying to automate looking for that
Yeah.
in their environment when really the reverse
Yes.
is where it's most effective in my opinion.
yeah, yeah.
Oh good. I'm glad we agree. See,
We
I told you that was going to be easy.
Yay, no quiz.
That's awesome. And now, am I getting this right that you did some yoga? Are you yoga
I did.
instructor?
Yeah, I taught yoga this morning. It was
That's
very
awesome.
easygoing. We had a handful of people. It was great. Did a lot of breathing, a little bit of movement, some stretching. It was easygoing, but it was really nice.
Can you
Yeah.
show me one of the
Yeah.
yoga? Can you just can we do like one yoga pose
Just take
together?
a deep inhale and lift
Deep-
your
deep-
arms up and press your palms together and lower them to your heart and exhale.
From a very relaxed Security Weekly conference. That concludes this interview. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.